Okay, I have returned, and hopefully you know what that means. Welcome to another oral entry of my new platform called The Diary of a Resolutionary. I'd like to thank, first let me make my acknowledgments. I give thanks to the Almighty Father and Mother of all that exists, the creators and sustainers of everything in existence. I give thanks to the many different people that make it possible for me to have been able to make it this far in my journey, leading up to this present day. Basically, every day that I live, I walk and step out in faith. I'm now fully activated and fully divested from the system, this matrix, this three-dimensional prison, our consciousness paradigm prison that we are all locked into. And I've expanded my mind and consciousness and released the fear of third dimensional thinking in terms of what I'm going to do to sustain myself, as I have decided to not give any energy or as little energy as I could to this system or matrix as we know it. So it leaves me in a position to where, normally I would have been uncertain and about, my future and, providing for myself and having the things that I need out of life and to further, my activities, and came to the realization that all I had to do was let go of the fear and proceed as though that wasn't an issue at all, and that everything that I need would come to me in its due time, and I would never go without, and I would eventually, things would get better, and I will want for and need for nothing, and everything that I need to fulfill the objectives that I have set out to accomplish will be provided. Therefore, I move with that confidence now, and I've begun to see the full legitimacy of the truth in that chance that I have taken. So, like I said, welcome to another edition of The Diary of a Resolutionary, and this is my latest entry, and I have a really exciting production for you today. So before I continue, I'd like I already made my acknowledgments and thanked everybody. Before I continue any further, I'd like to let you know that I have something really special in store for you, and if you will, during the course of this oral expression, throughout or at the very end, if you find that you have gained any value in anything that I've said here, and you feel that the knowledge shared here today should be shared with a friend, or someone can benefit from hearing what I say, please do me the favor of sharing it. And also, in order to help me further my reach, would you please do me the honor of liking it? And if you want to see more productions like this as I go along, please consider subscribing. I believe I covered all of the basic things that should be covered in that regard. And with all of that said, I'll proceed further. This is something that I produced today. This is something that I produced today at, I believe, 2:20, April 24th, 2025 at 2:23 p.m. Okay, so here we go. Dear Diary, this is an open letter to all of the people of the world. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you find anything, find any value in anything said here today. This is my second time delivering this address. This is supposed to be a written journal, but in my efforts, I found that I have to be adaptable to convey my messages to the public because it appears that they have devolved so low that to ask them to read is like cursing bad words to them. So I'll write out my manuscript and post it for those who do not read, and I recite my articles orally for those who seem to be reading impaired. My messages lately have been heavily focused on the impact that the activities that Caucasians, so-called white people, have had on the world, and how in reverse engineering the fundamental nature of humanity's problems on a universal scale in attempts to reverse and therefore reform the collective situation that humanity finds ourselves in, where we wallow in our own filth and allow ourselves to continue to be taken advantage of by our historical enemy and overlords once and for all. I have been training for this moment my entire life, and the time is finally right to employ the full spectrum of the talents that I've been gifted with, the wisdom gained from the experiences, and the knowledge that I've acquired over the course of my brief tenure in this existence. I am about to show the world something that they ain't seen in a long time, perhaps never. My ambitions are lofty but achievable, and my goals so far have proven to be one that is not universally shared by the majority of people that I personally come into contact with. If this is not the case, and what I say is not true, then I certainly would not know it otherwise based on the way I see everyone else living their lives. From my experiences, they are not willing to commit themselves in the way that I have been. That's neither here nor there, and to tell you the truth, what I just said is irrelevant, like many of the things that I intend to share here for context, in order that you can get to know me better and become familiar with what drives me to take the actions that I take. And should I add, also, they're irrelevant independently, but they are not mutually exclusive of one another. And when it's taken collectively in the context that it's now offered, it does become relevant. So just wanted to add that in there. And if I, I am prepared to face the consequences and be gladly held accountable for anything that I say or do. But if I am proven wrong on any subject that I speak on or I am engaged in currently, or any activity of which I have become a part of, and it adversely affects anyone undeservingly or could potentially do so in any way, I'd rather be challenged and checked on that behavior at its first surfacing than be allowed to continue that behavior. If in the event that when that happens, I am rightfully set on the right course, I will gladly defer to the new, superior knowledge, and my behavior will then reflect that new reality. I'm like everyone else. I don't like having to humble myself after being proven wrong, but I will do so in the name of spiritual ascension, which is among my highest of aspiring virtues. I will do it because I am aware of how my actions and utterances impact the potential spiritual growth, and therefore actions of others, and the knowledge of the fact that I have taken on a really big responsibility doing what I do, and that I owe it to the entire human species and all organic and inorganic organisms by extension to be the best individual that I could be at all times, given the cards that I am dealt in any potential situation. I have no ally in this regard. I am not aligned with anyone in either an official or unofficial capacity, yet I am fully and unashamedly and without committed, without apology. Excuse me. My methodology is based in simplicity at its finest, yet still being the most powerful and widely available tool available at everyone's disposal. This tool could be summarized in one word, and to this very day, if anyone had been keeping score, the truth remains undefeated, and I am what, if you would indulge me by acknowledging my own greatness, because I know that I'm not supposed to do that. Others are. But if you know, and you guys will find out soon anyway. Moving on. I am what you could consider a master in its wielding, the wielding of the truth. The difference is in the approach and in the source of my motivation, my why. Because of the fact that I am a true believer and that I cannot be bought out or be offered anything better than what I already acknowledge that I am already entitled to, that has been stolen from me, that I am now here to reclaim. The difference, therefore, is my motivations for the most part, but not, it is, but not entirely, as I have just explained, if you were paying close attention, selfless, but not entirely. This is a war that I have been actively, personally fighting for a while, right in front of everyone's faces. A lot of you have watched me go through a lot of the events that has led to my transformation. It's been difficult getting to the point that I am in my journey, that I could confidently say at this point that I am ready to assume my rightful place in this war of good versus evil. It's a great time to be alive. That was just the introduction, and I'd like to thank you all for your patience. Now please continue to hang in there with me. Consistent with everything I just said, understand that this is not an easy undertaking. It requires the possession of a variety of skills of which I have to be proficient in. No excuses, including but not limited to things like the utterance of inconvenient truths. People do not like to be held accountable for their actions or to be characterized in a manner that in an unfavorable light, even if what is said about them is true. This is a fact, and I'm not guessing about this. In this three-dimensional spiritual construct and prison that we are all locked into, it is not unusual to discover that this trait exists in even who we consider the best of us. Knowing this as an example of the sensitivity of my challenge is to balance the fact that I know that these people are not as spiritually evolved as they think they are. And due to certain factors like their adherence and participation in associations like churches or whatever groups they're associated with, and certain organizations or practices, they believe that they have arrived and that therefore they are above whatever knowledge about themselves that someone that they feel is beneath them could share with them, that they could benefit from, that they could actually benefit from, only they don't know it. Very three-dimensional spiritual level behavior, if you ask me. I could see it plain as day, but good luck trying to get them to see it that way because of their egos, which again is evidence of a spiritual blockage preventing them from growing to their fullest potential. That's just a small taste of the enormity of my challenge. So now you can see why nobody wants to do what I do with the type of energy that I give, the right type of energy. With all that having been said, I would like to take this opportunity to pick on the Caucasian demographic of our plane of existence, but only a specific faction and other demographic factions of our world population who are known to be confederate against the so-called black population of this plane of existence simply for who we are, and extend an olive branch to you as a token of my sincerity in wanting to finally establish normal relationships between your kind and mine in these critical times that we are living in, so that we could collectively coordinate a common direction that we all want to proceed in, and together conceive of the type of world that we'd like to live in and work towards that goal. It is the most valiant goal that any of one of us could hope to see realized in our lifetime, and I hope to be able to see the beginning of its realization in my lifetime. It's a goal that will be hard fought with lots of challenges, and I am rolling up my sleeves ready to do the work, and I am currently assembling the people of like mind to assist me in its manifestation. For those who are vibrating on the same frequency with me, that are just destined to join me or assist me in at least one of the many ways that they could in this journey, this message and all the extra content contained herein and hereafter is mostly for your consumption. For the NPCs of the world that would stand in our way and refuse to evolve no matter what, go eat a dick, or go back to sleep, or scroll, troll, you on the wrong channel. Getting to the root of what I perceive is the problem, as I estimate the root of our problems to be, according to my researching, every instance leads to the original sin, which is the Caucasian ambition to conquer and dominate the world and establish right supremacy, which continues to this very day. Stop me when I start lying. Has this taken place successfully? Yes, it has. The results have been utterly devastating for every single inhabitant of the earth for many generations, continuing up until this very day. The truth is what it is, and if you are truthful, you must admit that these statements cannot honestly and hastily be denied. Caucasians may feel as though I am unfairly picking on them, but that is seriously not the case. I am a resolutionary, and my intentions and goal in all of my efforts, which is an activity that I am obsessed with, I am charged with the duty of truthfully recounting or recollecting the knowledge of any instance that would shed light on the situation and the situation overall. If you are a Caucasian in denial of any of these truths, especially in modern times with all the information available, it becomes apparent that you are a liar and the truth, any bit of it, is not in you. The evidence is plentiful and exists in abundance, and it is no longer possible to gaslight the public into accepting your argument of being the same as everyone else. You guys are clearly a special class of people that are dangerous to all other species that inhabit this plane of existence. Let me continue before you pass judgment. If you ask me, this is just my opinion, disclaimer, for educational and entertainment purposes only, allegedly, and I mean no harm in making these statements. Sincerely. With that said, let me continue. For educational purposes, of course, I state the following, only with the intent of the entire population to be advised of the plans of the leaders, the actual leaders of the race of people behind colonial Caucasian powers set in place in each established government throughout the world, the influence of which is set in place in each established government throughout the world, be exposed and prohibited, listen to me closely, and prohibited from the fulfillment of the plans that they seem to have in place for humanity, namely, in its entirety, namely, another great reset. People who I have come to understand at the highest level are actually, get this, melanated beings. So there goes the claims that anyone who identifies me as a racist could have against me. Because believe it or not, it's bigger than that. And even bigger than that. I haven't even gone as deep as I actually could. I am in pursuit of the real truth and nothing else. And I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Deal with it however it is that you would like. If you find me and others who think like me to be unnecessarily hateful or hateful at all, just for saying these things, you missed the point, first of all. And whether you know it or not, this is evidence of your hateful, unaccountable nature and evidence that you are still a potential threat, regardless of what you say, to the well-being of every other organic inhabitant of this plane of existence, and more proof that this approach is indeed warranted, and that the efforts to confront you directly with our findings must continue. As a resolutionary, I am extending an olive branch to your kind in hopes to help all those whose wish is to distinguish themselves as different in spirit and action than their demonic brethren, and distance yourselves from their activities, would join me in this crusade of righteousness, the worthiest of causes in which I am assembling a free will association of a coalition of the willing to confront and dismantle the plans against us all. There are a bunch of really good, solid white brethren and sisters out there, and people of other ethnicities that I would be proud to call my family, simply because of who they are and what they are made of, because of how they think and how they believe, what they believe, and therefore how they act. A lot of their brethren and sisters are not quite as spiritually as evolved as they are, and they blend in with the people that are definitely of good spirit and action. And unfortunately, In many cases, most people cannot tell the difference, even I can't, and with the untrained eye, until you have an extended experience with them in different situations. This part is true about every member of the human species, even so-called black people, and I am eventually going to get around to them too, so don't you worry. But I'm talking about so-called white people right now, and these things unfortunately have to be talked about. So the rest of you could just wait patiently for your turn, and it's coming. Believe that. We all played our part, willingly or unwillingly, consciously or unconsciously, and the rest of the story must be told, and I'm here to tell it. So those of you that are having your joy watching me harp on them in this way shouldn't be so quick to rejoice. Eventually, I'm going to get around to you. So there's that. I intend to enumerate as many of the harmful practices that affect every organic being on this plane of existence as I possibly could for roughly about 2 or 3 minutes. I don't want to overwhelm you, as I could literally go on for days, but I will spare you that indignity. My only intention, or my main intention, in committing the act that I am about to perform is to communicate my why again, as the reason that I am behaving this way, and getting this out the way, as a start to the transition that I'm making. By this, I am not seeking your acceptance or your permission. I am informally putting the actions of your people on trial, and again, using it as a justification to proceed in the manner that I am, which is actually speaking candidly on all major issues, without, just letting you know in advance, giving you a heads up where I'm coming from as I proceed further. But in the manner that I am, while giving you an opportunity to challenge my assertions, whatever they are. It's only right. If I am challenged and found wrong for my actions, I will cease and desist with my actions forthwith and forevermore. Ladies and gentlemen, the charges against the defendant are numerous and far-ranging in scope. In this preliminary hearing, the defendant is charged with, but not limited to, the following. In reading out the charges, please note that the following is not a wholesale indictment on the entire race of people that shares their heritage. The prosecution would like to make it abundantly clear also that there is a large contingency of individuals of this group that are not guilty as charged, that are individuals that are fine examples of what it is to be human beings, and in the court of public opinion are preemptively exonerated of the following charges. In other words, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. In other instances, the charges are briefly listed as follows. In my opinion, for entertainment purposes, of course, allegedly, your kind is guilty of 1. Spreading an international worldwide campaign of fear, terrorization, and conquest in the wake of everywhere you have known to travel. And 2, genocide, infanticide, and all conceivable innovative forms of death. You have invented so many different ways for motherfuckers to die, and ain't nobody done you nothing, and destruction have followed you everywhere you've gone. The erasure, number 3, the erasure of the memory of and the continued suffering of indigenous cultures around the world, continuing up until this very day. Now, I could go on and on and on, but there's no use in beating a dead horse. And I know I promised about 2 minutes of hardcore thrashing to make my point, but as I sit here thinking of what to write next at the time I was writing it, it is affecting my personality just thinking about it, and I'm becoming sad and, hold on, at least for the moment, don't want to do it anymore and mess up the vibe that I am in, which is at the moment good. This may disappoint some because it is obviously anticlimactic, but I am not here to please anyone. I simply wanted to make a point, and I'm here to successfully get my points across, and I believe that I've done just that. It is sad that I have to continually engage in such low vibrational activity to fulfill my ultimate goal, which is to raise the energetic frequency of the people of this plane of existence and unite us all with the common goal of ridding ourselves of our collective overlords once and for all. But it has to be done, and what I did today had to be done this way. I had to get it out the way so that I could move on. It's the elephant in the room. These things have to be honestly spoken about in order for us to all be in a position to fix them. There are many people that would like to stand in the way of that. And although I would like to be able to reason with them and convince them to cease and desist with their current line of behaviors, we are dealing with people of all types that for whatever reason, and there are many, just don't want what is best for humanity and constantly work towards keeping everyone that they come in contact with in concert from working towards spiritual growth and attaining it, and for us to remain in a third dimensional consciousness density, which is an almost inescapable spiritual prison that prevents the rise of humanity to greatness. My actions in this stage is to try to get them to engage with me in public debate so that I could flush them out into the open, and once properly dealt with, these archons, if you know what that means, will leave an unobstructed path to the fulfillment of our goals. I am preemptively and methodically covering my six, as they say in military lingo. This entire block of word sound is put together in such a way as to raise the vibration of the listener and to draw your attention and interest in the assistance of the fulfillment of the most worthwhile endeavor conceivable in the world today, in my opinion. Everything else is uncivilized, as people have been known to say. With that, I bid you farewell at this time, and until next time, when I will build upon the foundation laid here today. With all that having been said, as always, I leave you with these words. Right on to the real, and death to the motherfucking fakers. You know who you are. Justify your existence or die like the motherfucking punk-ass bitch that you know you are. And one last thing. May we all get exactly what the fuck we deserve. It's a wrap, and I'm out. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, one.